All right, ladies and gentlemen, party people, good to see you guys. Welcome as we are just about to begin another episode of NXT. We're just days, a little over a week away from Stand and Deliver, so we should be really mapping out this card pretty hard tonight. Good to see you guys in the chat. Dossie, I see you. George, I see you. Tyrell, I saw you earlier in here. Dro, I believe you're in here too. Good to see you all tonight. Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of exciting things and fun things to talk about tonight during the commercial breaks. And we're getting our then, now, forever. And let's see what let's just see what the future holds for us tonight. I do believe our tag match with the Ren QCC and Fatal Influence should be opening the show. And the big news through Robert Stone and NXT social accounts tonight is there is a 5-man North American Championship Gauntlet Eliminator match. What a mouthful. To determine the new number one contender to Miles Bourne. 4 of those men have been announced. 1 has not. We've got Jackson Drake, Dion Lennox, Shiloh Hill, and Charlie Dempsey. And Robert Stone has really been teasing who the 5th man is. Don't know who it is. Don't know who it is, but we're going to have to wait and see tonight. And Stone keeps pushing it like it's going to be a big deal. So I'm very curious as to who it might be. All right, we're getting a recap from last week. The Ren Agenda in full effect. Our favorite, our lovely Ren Sinclair, the new women's speed champion. Long overdue gold for Ren Sinclair. You know, George, that's what I was saying. When I've been asked, Royce Keys is the best guess I have in terms of it being a big surprise that's going to be impactful. Because they still have not even given us a whiff of what show Royce Keys is going to be on, but they were still showing him on, the podcast platforms and stuff. So it would be interesting if he got debuted here tonight. We'll see. Anyway, JC Jane retained her title last week due to Zaria getting, basically getting hampered by Fatal Influence. And of course, Booker T Appreciation Night, where we saw Jasper Troy come out and defend Booker T from Keanu Carver, which they're replaying all this now. Lockwood, good to see you. Dro, give me Joe. I don't have a real frame of reference between Izzy or Joe for the UFC fight. I don't know enough, so I'm just going to say Joe. You're right, Lockwood. Keys has not appeared since the Rumble. The only thing he's appeared on is Stephanie McMahon's podcast. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Troy and Carver likely will get a stand and deliver match out of those guys, I'm imagining. And then, of course, Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. Tatum successfully defended her North American title in the cage against Izzy, but was met by Blake Monroe after it was over. So we're heading in a direction of Blake and Tatum. That's right, Lockwood. Slapping meat, the Big E special. How do I feel about Punk and Roman's segment last night? Yeah, you know what? Last name, I'm going to mark that question. I'm going to come back to it in a commercial break. I feel like there's too much to talk about to answer that quickly. There's parts of it that I'm not very interested in, and there's some parts that are actually kind of getting my attention. So we'll see what happens. All right, Shiloh and Stone talking backstage. Shiloh wants to go first. Oh, there's Tatum. I really love Tatum and Shiloh being friends, by the way. Oh, Blake stole her title. The creepiest laugh I've ever heard from Shiloh, though. Briggs. Uh-oh, referee is now whisked stone away from Briggs. So we don't know what Briggs wanted. What's up, Vasquez? All right, here comes the Ren QCC. Yes. Danhausen is great. I'll say Adesanya, Dro. TKO, Dro. All right, here comes Fatal Influence. So I guess we're getting Fallon and Laney as the team. Or is it JC and Fallon? No, Fallon and Laney. Second round, Dro. Fallon looks ill. She should be. Could be George. I can't imagine there's a ton of time left for Fatal Influence. If JC moves up after Stand and Deliver, we'll see what happens. Last name I did see online, Thea, I think did dye her hair. I did not notice that. Fallon definitely got an attitude after dropping her title to Ren Sinclair. All right, Fallon and Ren Sinclair to start, and we're starting fast. Drop those predictions in the chat. You tapped out, Chance, from the NXT faithful to Fallon Henley. We're Team Ren at Marked by Wrestling, though, so we're always going to try to pick her when we can. Oh, that's right. Kelani Jordan and Thea Hale tonight. Nice bag elbow from Ren. All right, Vic Joseph bringing up an interesting point now that Kendall Gray has relinquished, much like Obafemi, relinquished the Evolve Women's title. So she is titleless now and is free to chase after JC Jane. All right, here comes Kendall Gray. What's up, Tyrell? Good to see you, man. Backstage, there's been an attack. Elio, LeFleur, and Eli Knight have been attacked backstage. All right, so here's the thing. We were supposed to have a first round tag team number one contender tournament tonight between Elio and Eli Knight versus, I want to say, Birthright, maybe. But legit, there were reports Elio LaFleur got hurt on a house show this weekend for NXT. And now it looks like they're just writing him and Eli Knight off the tournament altogether. So either their opponents will get a bye, or maybe OTM or Dark State will get reinserted into the tournament. We'll have to see what happens. Ren's back in control over Fallon here. Double underhook suplex. Well executed. Yeah, I know. Them not putting OTM was interesting to me. I don't mind them disqualifying Dark State. Oh, you think so, Chris? Carver, that would be a good play, honestly. That would actually be a pretty good play. Having it be Carver. Oh, hey, Shamanica, good to see you. I know it's been a wonky time scheduling wise with A&B making their move, and my kids have been on spring break one week after another, so things have been a little different to manage over the past couple of weeks. But hopefully, we're getting back to normalcy here. While we are in picture, I'm going to bring up last name's comment here. What did you think about the CM Punk and Roman segment from last night? So I want to talk about that real quick. First of all, Punk and Roman, like, I just feel like they should be, I don't know. I feel like they should have a little more hatred for each other. I don't buy their beef. It's all very, it feels very halfway, right? What I'm more interested in right now is seeing the intricacies and the inner working relationships between how Roman is approaching this match versus his relationship to the Usos. And Jay, not only is Jay seeming to kind of flirt with the dark side on his own, but Jimmy isn't. I'm actually very interested in Jimmy right now. And how he's showing a little restraint. He's trying to be the voice of reason. And even last night, it felt like when Roman was out there, it seems almost like Jay is the devil on Roman's shoulder and Jimmy is the angel on his shoulder. And I like seeing that work out. I do not want us going back to just the paint by numbers bloodline. I don't mind them revisiting the bloodline and even bringing back Solo if they need to. But I want all those men to be a little different than they were before if they do it. And what they're doing with Jimmy and Jay right now, like, I like them booking Jay as this emotionally impulsive, is that being his weakness. I think that'll totally come into play, and I think they might end up losing the titles to the Vision, and maybe we have, maybe I don't know how that plays into WrestleMania. I'm not scratching and clawing and begging for the bloodline, but it does feel like we're probably going to get some iteration of those guys on screen together some more. But honestly, I don't think Roman will be around enough to do it for as long as he did it the last time. I imagine it'll be just a little bit of this and that. But yeah, so interesting segment. Punk, I don't not like Punk, right? As we're coming back to the show. But I don't know. I'm not fully invested into this feud. Happy for him getting a WrestleMania main event. All great. I am most invested in Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. That's the only thing that's really got me like WrestleMania is appointment viewing, that's what I'm feeling. And if we're going to get some kind of stipulation street fight match with Drew and Jacob Fatu, I'm here for that too. But honestly, the two main events, honestly, just about every title match, I'm just kind of like, nah. I mean, it'll probably be fine, but I'm not craving to see it. So, yeah, I think this might be the last we need to see of the Becky Lynch AJ Lee thing for a while. I feel like they've lost some of their momentum too. But we'll see what the future holds. Schmarka says every Stand and Delivers had a ladder match. Really? Huh. I wonder what kind of ladder match we would have at Stand and Deliver this year. You know, it could be. I wish they had gone with the title change last week between Sol and Zaria and then make that rematch a ladder match for the women's title. That could have been pretty fun. I think the crowd is chanting Rendell. It's not bad. Yeah, well, I think Joe Hendry is 100% going to be facing Tony D'Angelo. Oh, is he one? Okay, cool. They like this spot now where the illegal man or woman spears their opponent into the pinfall to break up the cover. That happens a lot these days. Women's wrestling chants. Oh, wow. What a counter by Kendall Gray. Oh, it's this Saturday. Sorry, my bad. I thought it was on right now. What a big spinning elbow by Kendall. Man, that should have been enough to knock Laney out cold, but she moves over to an armbar. Can she get reversal roll up? Yeah, Hank and Tank are guilty of it. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky did it. I think it happened in one of the Elimination Chamber matches too. Oh, and here comes Ren. Double submissions. Fatal Influence going to be tapping. Those ladies tapped. Ren QCC. Big winners. You love to see it. Do I think if the Division win the titles, that means Seth Rollins, whoever he chooses as his partner, will get a tag title shot? Last name. Actually, you were reading my mind. I was thinking that if the Usos managed to lose the titles before WrestleMania, they could somehow get involved with Roman by WrestleMania, and then Division could defend the titles against Seth Rollins and LA Knight, which I don't love as a team, but those are just two men who both have beef with Division right now. Kendall's on the mic. Okay. Kendall calling her shot, but here comes Lola Vice. Lola says she's going to be the women's champion. Robert Stone. Or Seth and Keys. Not bad. Ooh. Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice in New York next week. Winner gets JC at Stand and Deliver. That's a good match. There's Sol Ruca. Okay, Sol Ruca and Zaria face to face when we come back from the break, everybody. Do I think that Chris Jericho shows up at WrestleMania or after? I would say after last name, because here's the thing. Something that, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Um, so the thing about Jericho, and you say what you want about this, but um, I think that Chris Jericho's savvy enough that when he tries to make an impact on a company, he wants to be the only thing being talked about that night that he shows up. You know what I mean? Which, listen, if you're in the business of being in your own business for yourself and getting over, that's the smart way to think about it. So I'm not going to act like, oh, I knew the whole time. I was highly skeptical that he would have returned at the Royal Rumble because Royal Rumble is just a return fest and a cameo fest, for a lot of. So there's always more than one surprise at the Royal Rumble, right? And you don't want your return to get muddled in with other things. So my guess is that if Jericho returns, it will be either like the Raw after Mania, and I think he'll be on Raw. I think he'll want to be on Netflix because that's the big show. And it'll either be the Raw after Mania or it'll be on, I don't mean this in a bad way, but like a B level PLE. Because if he shows up at Mania, first of all, Mania is 2 days. He's not going to be, and unless he's showing up in the Punk and Roman match at the very end of the night, he's not going to be the last thing people are talking about. So I think when he returns, he wants to be what people are talking about. But I did think about Jericho, right? And this part's for free. If he does come back, I'm not super excited, if I'm honest, to see a whole lot more of Jericho. But there's a couple of things I wouldn't mind seeing him do when he comes back in terms of feuds or segments or whatever. One, I think he's going to have to be a little bit more of the sniveling Jericho. I don't want to see, tough guy Jericho. Like, I think he's too old for that at this point, and he needs to play with the hand he's been dealt at this point in his career. Which, I mean, listen, he's stronger than I'll ever be, but I would like to see the "you just made the list" version of Jericho, or the "drink it in man" Jericho. Not the best in the world at what I do or painmaker guy, whatever. Um, Nevertheless, I there's a few people I'd like to see him interact with. One is LA Knight. I think they would have a fun promo feud, LA Knight and Chris Jericho. I think it'll be a lot of fun. If he's doing the "you just made the list" stuff, not necessarily literally "you just made the list," but that air of silliness about him, I really want to see a Danhausen segment with Jericho. I think that would get over really big. And there was somebody else I wanted to see him work with when I was thinking about this the other day. And now I can't remember. It was somebody for him to put over. Oh, you know what? I'd kind of like to see him work with Trick Williams. I think it was Trick I was thinking about. Maybe Javon. He could put over Javon. But yeah, something like that. Literally putting over young talent, or having some good promo battles with some people who have got the goods on the mic. So anyway, that's my thoughts about Jericho. Let's see. We got fantasy booking from George. Fantasy booking: Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray gets so close. JC Jane and Fatal Influence get involved into a no contest, and Stone makes it a triple threat. Triple threat is definitely on the table, George. Could be. As soon as he came out, I thought more women were going to start coming out, and Robert Stone was about to call a ladder match because Shamanica reminded us every Stand and Delivers had a ladder match. So what if the women's title ends up being a ladder match? She might have him be Royski's manager. That's an interesting thought. I haven't considered that. All right, Sol Ruca is in the ring, about to call out Zaria. And let's see what these ladies have to say. George, it's not a bad thought. I gotta admit, I I feel like Sol Ruca's not really coming off as the babyface here. We're definitely getting Sol and Zaria at Stand and Deliver. Of course, she wanted her moment, Sol. You were holding 2 belts. Ooh, Fallon added to the title match would be really interesting. Last name. Somebody in the crowd just said loyal. Well, here's the thing, George. I don't think they're trying to make Sol a heel. I think they're giving her a sympathetic baby face promo. But logically, in this story, Sol, I don't think Zaria is necessarily to blame. Like, Zaria just wants to win a title for herself. And Sol's been getting all the opportunities. And this is all just coming off very like condescending. Sol keeps saying I was fighting for us, but like there wasn't anything for Zaria to get. She's like, I'm winning all these singles titles for us. What? This is the gaslightiest promo I've heard in a long time. I think that might be where they're going with this, George. I think well, I don't know. Let's wait and see what Zaria says first. They need to go to that therapist that Daniel Bryan and Kane went to and hug it out. Zaria is getting more support, and not a lot, but I would say more support from the crowd than Sol was. They're applauding Zaria. I mean, listen, Zaria has the more relatable position here. Y'all, the crowd is on Zaria's side. I think if they thread the needle, I think if they thread the needle carefully, they could have Zaria beat Soul clean at Stand and Deliver and have them like make up. Hmm. Okay, Zaria says it's not about you, it's about me choosing myself. Man, Soul just stepped all over a great line from Zaria. If breaking you is what it takes for me to be who I need to be, then I'll break you all over again. Nope. Crowd is not on Soul's side. Crowd is pro Zaria. I mean, listen, she's right. I agree, Chris. They keep talking about standing. It should be last woman standing. They should do a last woman standing match. They're running the word stand into the ground. You're not the villain in my story. You're the mistake. I don't know that. I don't think that line hit us cooked as hard as the crowd reacted, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think this is Zaria's story to be victorious in. Ricky and Ethan. Yeah, I think Soul's on her way out. Oh, loser leaves NXT. That's not a bad thought either. Briggs is there now. Hell in a Cell. That's a bit much for NXT, I feel like. Chris Wrestling Views. Well, to say they were booing her is a little generous, but it was clear that when the promo was happening, the crowd was on Zaria's side more than Soul's. They cheered a lot of the things Zaria had to say, and they were getting kind of restless with so they weren't buying into Soul's rationale. A few people were booing. It wasn't like the whole crowd was booing, but it was very clear that the crowd was not supportive of Soul's psychology in that argument. Every segment they have in the locker room, their name tags are there. Yeah, I know. It's an interesting nonverbal way to still have names present on the show. I think that's kind of cool, Shimonica. Here comes Kelani. Kelani and Thea Hale coming up next. Yeah, so Stand and Deliver is going to be on YouTube, so no excuses for anybody missing it. So we should have a good time there. later next week, the week after next, rather, whatever, April 3rd. 3rd? So the 4th? I don't remember, but it's that weekend. Oh man. Yeah, so what a show. So let me go back and catch up on a couple of items. Somebody, I think it was maybe Dossie earlier mentioned Daredevil Born Again new season coming out soon. Very excited about that. Do not know when I'll be able to get to it to watch it, but I love the first season or the fourth season, however you want to count them. Love that show. Looking forward to getting back into it, as well as the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Speaking of New York and local villains and stuff like that, very interested in that story. It seems to be, a lot of people have said, it's sort of refreshing to see the Tom Holland Spider-Man tap into that sort of loneliness and despair that the other two Spider-Men have had in their movies. I think it'll be an interesting, journey into that. That sucks for Boo and Soul, Chris. You know what? It's not. I blame whoever was responsible for that promo. If that came right out of Soul's heart, then she was wrong for that. But if that's the promo somebody gave her in creative, they got to do better than that. Yeah, Thea Hale does need something a little different, doesn't she, George? Don't you think? I agree. Uh, you think Thea's got this one? Really? Okay. I don't know which Thea we're gonna get. I feel like Thea and Kalani's gears are a little too similar. That's crazy. But I do like the hair upgrade. Yeah, Sophie, I think it starts tonight, if I'm not mistaken. You think we're going to see Miss Parker, George? Wouldn't be too surprising, I suppose. Turnbuckle shots from Thea. She's getting fired up. I did see the brand new day trailer, Sophie. I'm interested in what's coming out. We'll definitely see it this summer. Ooh, nice reversal from Kelani, even though it gets thwarted. Oh, she's looking for that Kimura. Oh, she's got it right in the middle of the ring. Seriously, Dossie, they do. Senton gets nothing. Oh, Thea going for that Kimura in the middle of the ring again. Oh, drops the turnbuckle again. Thea chance starting up in the NXT arena. Split leg moonsault. And that's that. Dang. That ending seemed abrupt. Does it seem abrupt to anybody else? That really seemed like that came out of nowhere. Like, did they get cut for time or? Oh, Kalani's going for that, going for a little extra. She coming back for seconds. Oh, almost like a punt. Now she going on a submission of her own. Oh, here's Miss Parker. There it is, George. Oh, big boot. Drop suplex. Well, she went for that hypnotic, but Kelani bails. No, Sophie W. I have not played 2K26 yet. A little too rich for my blood. There's a flashback to Booker T Appreciation Night. So we're gonna probably get. So let's think about. So we have MSG next week, and then Stand and Deliver. So we'll have a tag title match at Stand and Deliver. We'll have either Kelani or Lola versus Kendall Gray. No, wait, sorry. We'll have either Kendall or Lola versus JC Jane. Sorry. We'll have Soul versus Zaria. We'll have Joe Hendry, I'm guessing, versus Tony D'Angelo. Yeah, we'll see. Will we get Jasper Troy and Keanu Carver, or will that be next week? Tatum and Blake too, probably. Shiloh Hill lives on the dark web. He knows stuff. Do you not watch my videos? Let's go, Shiloh. Okay. It's time for the gauntlet, y'all. Let's go. All right. Shiloh, number 1 in the gauntlet. So here's who we have. Shiloh, Jackson Drake, Dion Lennox, Charlie Dempsey, and a yet to be named number 5. Kill Tony. Me too, Shamanica. I want Birthright to have some legitimacy, and I think the North American title would be a good addition to that. I can't believe people are going to buy tickets to that Kill Tony thing. Oh gosh, they're making so much money. Yeah, I agree, George. As long as the 5th person is actually the last person to enter, I can't imagine anybody else winning. An NQCC triple threat. Ooh. That would be fun. Yeah, I hope this 5th man is not any kind of a letdown like Tavion Heights. I tell you what right now. What better not happen? Because they've already been planting the seeds tonight that Josh Briggs is getting ticked off because he's being ignored by Robert Stone. We better not have no number 5 competitor and Josh Briggs just takes the number 5 spot and Josh Briggs ends up winning it. I will be so annoyed. Last name, I mean, probably the 5th person, whoever the 5th person is probably going to win. But if we can take them out of the equation, because we don't know who they are, of the remaining people, I think Charlie Dempsey is the right call. For everybody else, with everything they're doing with Birthright, I think Bourne and Dempsey would be a good stand and deliver match for the North American title. But we'll have to wait and see who number 5 is and see what happens there. Was the point of Ariana Grace with the Impact Knockouts Championship? I think, the whole Birthright thing on top of her being Santino's daughter, with Santino being an authority figure in TNA, I imagine that's probably where that's going. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, I haven't paid a lot of attention to TNA, to be honest, ever since they kind of stopped having those crossovers. Oh, you know what? Honestly, speaking of the crossovers, Leon Slater would be a really fun 5th person to have. I wouldn't mind that one bit. And I'd be okay with Leon Slater winning. Hey, puppy. What are we barking at? I think it's because mom's home. Very excited. Get it very excited when mom's home. I get it. All right, we're almost back from commercial. We'll see who Shiloh squares off with in the first leg of this Gauntlet Eliminator challenge. And then finally, we could have somebody who's not the Hardys, be an NXT champion. That wouldn't be a terrible thing. because they really haven't played nice with TNA in terms of title holding. Because, like, come on, the Hardys were the NXT tag champion. I mean, like, yeah, that doesn't legitimize TNA. If it was Danhausen, I would have a good laugh. All right, here comes Jackson Drake. I keep forgetting the Vanity Project are the tag champions. Dressed like they're going to the Catalina wine mixer over here. It's crazy. Now, Jackson Drake here, who's, still a heel right now. I really think he's going to have a bright future in NXT. Like, he's just kind of just got here as a full-timer. But he can really go. He's got a good look. I think, honestly, I think he could do something. I think he could do something special in NXT over the next couple of years. Oh, okay. I thought Gauntlet Eliminator was one at a time. Every 3 minutes, a new superstar's coming in and eliminations by pinfall or submission at any point. Okay, so this is kind of like Rumble style. For some reason, I thought it was just, I guess I was thinking of a regular Gauntlet match. Hey, lady. Yeah, so Jackson no longer has the Evolve Championship. Neither does Kendall Gray. So they're fully called up at NXT, and they're here. Danhausen did show up in Ethan Page's photo shoot. Saw that online. That was pretty amusing. I mean, anything Danhausen does is pretty amusing. Stun gun there by Jackson Drake. I wish we had some kind of a clock about bringing in the new contenders. Based on how Stone announced the order of the competitors, Dion Lennox should be next, I believe. But we'll see what happens. It should be Dion Lennox, then Charlie Dempsey, then whoever number 5 is.
I think the girls are. She said when she had her mandatory meeting, one half of the table was like, and then the other half was hugging each other and goofing off.
Yeah, Dossie, I guess so too. Whenever you have a clock element in a match, it's always nice to have it visual on the screen, but we'll see how it goes. All right, here comes the clock. I'm assuming Dion Lennox is next, but Yep, here we go. All right. You don't think so, George? I think Dion might need to get away from Dark State and find a little bit more of a character. But I think he's got a shot at a singles championship somewhere in his career. He just needs to get a little more flavor because I think he's got sound mechanics in the ring. You know what I think of Dion Lennox. Dion, I don't want to say AEW, but back in the WCW days, he would have been like a good TV champion. I think he would be a good mid-level to lower mid-card champion if there was a belt for that. Because like if he gets up to Raw or SmackDown, I don't know if he's winning the US title or the Intercontinental title. He'd probably have to find a tag partner and go after a tag championship. But here in NXT, like he could have, been like a Heritage Cup champion. I mean, maybe with some time until he finds that next level. You know what I mean? It's that next level he's got to find. But I think he can find it. Like I think his in-ring mechanics are good enough to support him if he can find the character work. Because when you're an invading force like Dark State, eventually we're taking over isn't threatening anymore. Like the NWO. Like it was threatening for a long time, but eventually they're just like, oh, you guys are still here? Like, and that's kind of what Dark State is now. They're just like, okay, perfect plex from Jackson Drake. It was a good looking fisherman suplex pin too. All right, this should be Dempsey. Yep. All right, Charlie Dempsey from Birthright. They got a neutron. All of Birthright on the way. So we're about 3 minutes away from finding out who number 5 is. Connor, Stacks, and Ariana all out here. Lexus King not out here though. Which I'd also heard that Lexus King might have gotten concussed at at that same house show that Elio LeFleur was heard at over the weekend. Big German suplex from Charlie. Nepo baby chants from the NXT crowd. All right, almost all the way back from the break here, from the picture in picture. So okay, so unless an elimination happens, oh wait, all 5 have to come out before. Sorry, I'm still learning my Gauntlet Eliminator rules. You have to wait for all 5 to get here. Oh, and it's a chain of sleeper holds. Here's my question. If the match doesn't end or doesn't begin, war game style, until the 5th guy is out here, if you're Birthright, why don't you just start attacking the other guys and just start laying them out right now, Because Dempsey's not going to get disqualified. WWE loves to remind us that there's no DQ in multi-man matches. Like if I'm Birthright, I'm in there right now just wailing on Shiloh and Jackson and Dion. What's up, RT Rick? Good to see you again. Thank you for stopping by earlier today in our live Mount Rushmore episode on the Road Warriors. Mudo lock there. Oh, wow. Double stomp from Jackson Drake puts Dempsey right out of that bridge. So right now, Gauntlet Eliminator match for the number 1 contendership to the North American title, currently held by Miles Bourne. Currently in the ring are 4 of the 5, Dion Lennox, Shiloh Hill, Charlie Dempsey, and Jackson Drake of the Vanity Project. We are waiting on this mystery number 5 and seeing who that's going to be. Meanwhile, Shiloh Hill just got thrown through the barricade. Dion Lennox with a double German suplex puts down Jackson Drake and Charlie Dempsey. Dion looking strong right now. So at any moment, we should start to see number 5, and everybody is beat up. Who is speaking? Oh, it's Candice LeRae. We're getting Johnny. We're getting Johnny Gargano. Rebel Heart. Come on. Do not bring him back. If you don't play Rebel Heart, I am ending this stream right now. What? They're playing some garbage Def Rebel crap. Oh, he's wearing his Johnny Wrestling shirt. Johnny definitely looking lost and shiftless and no. No, I'm not popping for this. I'm not. I am not popping for this. We did not get. No, I wanted Rebel Heart. He's wearing his babyface T-shirt. Well, he gets kicked by Jackson Drake immediately, and now he's planking on the apron already. Man, what a suplex! A back slingshot suplex. Well, we did say we assumed. Whoa, who's here? OTM is here. OTM is mugging Dion Lennox. Oh, curb stomp. Okay, things are getting interesting now. Right, Dossie? Bring Black and Gold Gargano back here. Okay, Shiloh takes advantage. Shiloh just eliminates Dion Lennox. Now Shiloh's just pushed Johnny back in, but he's just rolling to the other side of the ring. Hey, Nico, good to see you. Day's going okay. Johnny now planking on the barricade. Yeah, Johnny's going to end up planking his way into a pinfall, I feel like, somehow. Like Candice is going to pick him up and push him into the ring, and he's going to roll his way into a pinfall. This is going to be absurd. I'm sorry. I'm very disappointed that we did not hear Rebel Heart. Even if he was true to the theme song of the way, Rebel Heart's one of the best WWE themes ever produced in the modern age. NXT chanting, Johnny, get up. Even Booker T tried to tell him to get up. Thanks, Nico. I'm glad you're here too, man. Thank you guys all for being here. Make sure you've hit that like button tonight. By the way, if you haven't, it's all it's a small gesture with a big help. Oh man, Shiloh and Charlie are double submissioning Jackson Drake here. Nowhere for Jackson to go. Johnny's on his feet. Oh, that's awesome, Nico. Going way back to the purchase of WCW by WWF in 2001. Oh, Shiloh Hill just drops Johnny, and Johnny's back to laying down. Oh, wow, Nico. Okay. And we're fully back from the break now. Candace is a good wife, you know. She's standing by her man when he's down, trying to motivate him to get back into gear. Drake with a dive takes down Shiloh and Charlie. I'll tell you what, man, this Johnny business is wearing a little thin. 450 from Jackson Drake. And nope, not enough to put Shiloh away. Ooh, Jackson Drake is bleeding. I think he headbutted Shiloh Hill on that dive. His nose is busted open. Charlie Dempsey with a chop block and a German suplex. Ooh, flips out of it. Standing enziguri from Jackson Drake. Clotheslines Charlie out the ring. Johnny's still planking. Suicide dive. Oh, good Lord. Suicide dive through the bottom rope from Jackson Drake. And I mean, he hit Dempsey like a missile. All right, Shiloh and Drake in the ring. Handspring. Nope. Shiloh Hill catches him right into the neck breaker. Shiloh Hill eliminates Jackson Drake. So we're down to Shiloh, Dempsey, and Gargano. Big forearm from Charlie Dempsey. Shiloh's had the only 2 eliminations so far. But Dempsey going to try to eliminate Shiloh. He's hooking the legs, doing all the sound in-ring work to try to eliminate him, but it's not happening. Johnny's still planking. Johnny has not executed one move of offense in this match. He's been going through evasive maneuvers this entire time. Johnny here, by the way, at the behest of Candace to help him try to find himself. But meanwhile, Dempsey and Shiloh having a great time. I 100% agree, George. I think somehow Johnny Gargano is going to end up planking his way to a victory here. Does that mean we're going to get Johnny Gargano versus Miles Bourne, though? Oh, he hit the neck breaker on Charlie. Shiloh Hill just eliminated Charlie Dempsey. So now it's Shiloh Hill versus Johnny Gargano. And, oh, geez. Birthright just grabbed Shiloh Hill and threw him into the steps. German suplex on the outside of the ring. Johnny is totally going to win this match. Crowd chanting Johnny. Johnny finally standing to his feet with a prone Shiloh Hill right below him. Candace just pushes him down. Listen, Johnny Gargano is one of the reasons I got really excited about wrestling again in 2016 or so. Him and Ciampa. And I don't mind a good comedy bit. I don't. We were just talking about the praises of Danhausen earlier tonight. But this match had so much potential to be a display of what the men's division in NXT can be without Obafemi and Trick Williams and Javon Evans. Shiloh Hill has a ton of potential. Dion Lennox has potential. Jackson Drake and Charlie Dempsey both showed they can go in this match. And they just ended this match with gravity. Well, Johnny's starting to wake up. Boy, I didn't realize how small Johnny looks compared to Miles Bourne, though. That's interesting. So we're getting Johnny Gargano and Miles Bourne at Stand and Deliver. Interesting. Let's see if Johnny is up for the challenge. Yes, baby Randy. Right, RT Rick? It can be good, but we'll see. Briggs is getting blown off again. That's gonna explode. Referees are refusing to ref Keanu and Jasper. Should be interesting. There's Miss Parker. All right, here comes the Culling. It's the Culling who is taking on Elio and Eli. So have they announced a replacement team to face them? You did call it, George. You absolutely did. Progressive Insurance presents the Culling. Bundle home and auto while you're bringing the truth to light, although there's pain in revealing it. Honestly, maybe the Culling isn't the worst group to be sponsored by an insurance company. Oh my. Yeah, George. I mean, if you're asking me, put OTM in there, man. They already showed up and handled Dion Lennox. Why not? But we'll find out here shortly in the next couple of minutes who will be facing Dark Side of the Ring on Harley Race. Really? May have to put that in the old queue, RT Rick, and check that out later. Here's a question. For those of you who watch Dark Side of the Ring, I mean this in the nicest way. What is your favorite episode, or what episode like enjoy doesn't seem like the right word to say, but like which Dark Side of the Ring episode were you really into the most? I got to admit, the New Jack episode I thought was very eye opening. Um, uh, I watched that a couple of times. I was so flabbergasted by it. And I knew a little bit about New Jack going into it already. I just didn't realize like how crazy that man was. God rest his soul. Of course, I watched the Benoit episode. I could not, but that just made me sad. That whole situation still just makes me sad when I think about it. The Pillman episode was hard too. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other episodes that were interesting. But yeah, you tell me. Yeah, NXT's been solid tonight. I didn't love. I mean, Devon Eric's. Oh gosh, talk about a heartbreaker. That and the Iron Claw. You know how tragic the Von Erich family has to be in order for them to make a movie like the Iron Claw and not include every child who tragically passed away in that family. Like they had to erase a kid from existence just to not further depress audiences. Just absolutely brutal. Yes, wrestling is life. Danny Rojas. All right, so we'll have this tag match, and then we'll have Tony D'Angelo and Ricky Saints as well. And we'll also have a dog chasing a ball. A tag team from Impact. That's interesting, George. I wouldn't consider that. Who would you put? Who would you put in for that? The system. Okay. Not a bad idea. All right. Well, we're about to find out here in about 4, 3, 2, 1, or someone from Noah. True. WWE Hall of Fame, 17th, night before Mania 1. Dennis Rodman, Demolition, AJ Styles, Stephanie McMahon. Sid, man, so deserving. So pumped for Sid being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So deserving. And we've got an NXT Origins video. Oh, Tiffany Stratton. I saw this was on Raw yesterday. Oh, Tiffy. There's OTM. Interest on the debt. Santana. OTM and Santana versus Dark State next week. That could be fun. Dossie, I think you might be onto something. I think moving Tiffy into the title picture for the U.S. title is a good idea. Okay. Next week can be a lot of fun. All right, let's see who this team's going to be. The Americanos. Rayo and Bravo. All right, I can deal with this. So close, RT. We got a little ways to climb, but we will get there. Little by little, man. Just keep moving forward. Yeah, not only is next week's NXT going to be something special, I mean, that'll lead us right into Stand and Deliver. So it should be good stuff. I mean, I feel like there's no way the Americanos don't win this match, right? Surely this has got to be Americanos. Oh, man. Because the Culling has not really been taken serious as a tag team in like a year. I like Truth and Priest as a tag team because, you know, for years now, Truth has been trying to, gratify himself to Priest, get him to crack up. And, I don't think there's anything else better going on with either one of those guys. So I think putting them together and putting them in the tag division bolsters the tag division. And I'm not mad at it at all. Bravo doing a little salsa. Yeah, Sophie, I'm surprised they haven't at least recorded a reaction. Could be Shamanico. You could be right about that. But I tell you what, next year, oh my gosh, Spears doing some sort of weird butt twitch at Bravo. It's so weird. Shamanico, you might be right about that. But at the same time, I wonder if Stand and Deliver will be its own weekend next year too, if they're still going to go to Saudi Arabia for Mania, you know? We'll have to wait and see. Sophie, yeah, they're traveling. I haven't heard from them today. I spoke to A yesterday. They were going to be traveling a lot today, so that's all I know for today. But so far, so good for them, I think, in their travels. Nico Vance dropping both Americanos here. The belts, I could see them possibly putting them on WrestleMania instead of the night before or night after. Yes, possible, Dossie. I think there's being a champion certainly has that advantage. How do I feel about Jade having a faction? I think it's good. Her having a little something more to work with on camera will probably make her more interesting. Give her something to react against, I think that's a good idea for her. And Misha and BFAB weren't doing anything else, so I think it's good. Did I hear Tony Storm is out for 2026? I did, yeah. Honestly, I think she could use the break. I mean, I think her and a couple other AEW talents are kind of overexposed at this point, and as long as she's okay, I mean, I hope hope she's safe and healed up and she recovers quickly. But I honestly, I think the break from TV will be good for her in the long run. And absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So she can get a little time to recharge and refresh and come back stronger. Yeah, Gunther and Io haven't been booked for Mania yet, but that doesn't mean they won't be. Honestly, I think it's just a matter of time until Io does for sure. She's clearly involved with something regarding the Kabuki Warriors, whether she finds a partner to go against them that's not Rhea, or faces Asuka one-on-one, or if it's a triple threat match between all three ladies. But I think Io will have some work to do at Mania. As for Gunther, yeah, I mean they got to do something with him. You would think. I mean, he was a champion last Mania, and he's been booked like a demigod since then. So, like, I know that I know word was going around that they had plans for him and Rey Mysterio, which would have made a ton of sense with what Gunther's been doing. And now Rey is hurt, so he won't be around. But they got to do they can do something. They can do something for Gunther. Match him up with somebody. Thecla's AEW Women's Champion is lackluster, and Pena is too soon to put the title on. Yeah, I don't know what their plan is. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to AEW, but they seem pretty content in their brand of wrestling and being kind of stagnant in their growth as a result. Wow. Bravo just backdropped right over the corner. Yeah, RT, we're happy to see Sid get in the Hall of Fame, man. He was deserving. Honestly, like Vader, I do wish they had taken the time to induct them while they were still with us. They're deserving of that, but better late than never, I guess. I don't know. I'm still kind of disappointed that Sid didn't get it while he was alive, but I'm still happy that he's going in there because he deserves it for sure. One of the best big men to ever do it. Oh yeah, Cope and Christian back. I'm sorry I keep yawning, you guys. I haven't had much caffeine today. I should have addressed that before I went live. But we're in the last half hour now of NXT. Ooh, ruthless chop. That's right. Sid beat Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, I believe, to be champion. Oh, Shawn Spears going after the mask. Oh, you mentioned somebody from the tag team, Sophie Duffy. I think you're talking about Dennis Condrey. He was one of the original members of the Midnight Express with beautiful Bobby Eaton and, of course, famous manager Jim Cornette. Pretty sad because Bobby Eaton, the other member of the Midnight Express, passed away in the last year as well. And Bobby Eaton was one of the best to ever do it. Very, very underrated performer. Dennis Condrey, Didn't have the look of today's modern wrestler. He looked a little rednecky, but he was very good in his own right, though. Americanos have Nico Vance double teamed here. Jeez. Nico's sort of rock bottom of Uranagi's one Americano onto the other one. Booker's working overtime trying to put over Nico Vance, though, as if he's getting some kind of push. What a big, strong Americano. Spears in the ring now. Big spin coming from Bravo. Feel like this match has just hit half speed. Splash. Nobody home. Rayo pulls Bravo out of the way. And now Bravo loading up the mask. Sophie, I wouldn't want to see Booker as doesn't need a manager. He's all well and good by himself. Skyscrapers, RT Rick, yes. Great pull there. Sid almost beat Sting for the world title at Halloween Havoc too, but some chicanery and tomfoolery prevented that from happening. Now Rayo's loading the mask. And there's the loaded headbutt. Both Americanos had loaded headbutts. And that wipes out Sean Spears. That ought to do it. 1, 2, and 3. Americanos advance. Yeah, I think it's going to be longer before China gets in. Hopefully Miss Elizabeth will eventually, though. Substitute tag team Los Americanos advances in the tag tournament. Oh, okay. Briggs is going to volunteer to be the referee for Keanu and Jasper. I'm not surprised Rodman got in before Cyndi Lauper. Well, actually, you know what? I am surprised because Cyndi Lauper should have gone in 2005 when Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, when everybody associated with WrestleMania 1 went in together. If she wasn't going to go in that year, though, the whole bit with the Attitude Era is now like the predominant wrestling thing in history. It's the flavor of the historical moment, so it's a big deal for Rodman to go in at this point. And Tatum Paxley now stalking Blake Monroe after going off information given to her by Shiloh Hill. Yeah, and you know what? I think Briggs is the right person, George, to step between Jasper and Carver. I wonder if that leads to a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver. But again, none of the referees want to be involved with those guys. So would it be non-sanctioned? Would it be, what would it be, like a last man standing or something? Why you can't do a last man standing triple threat? That's weird. Yeah. So we shall see.
They were snuggling in tonight. We're gonna hide them. In the front of the plan. It's not like you're gonna go to jail for it. It's just, for what? Well, that Elio would be good. It's just, the thing happened when you bought it. You tried to put it in, that's just good.
Oh, Sophie. I heard that. I did hear that rumor, and that's just the most absurd thing. Like, it's so ridiculous, right? Like, he made it an offer to buy WWE. Could you imagine how terrible wrestling would be if Tony Khan owned all of it? The guy who doesn't know how to be a boss. Like, again, from what I hear from people, good person, obviously historically competent wrestling fan, but running a wrestling company, especially one of the magnitude of WWE, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Talk about John Cena. I will ruin wrestling. That would have been the case if Tony owned it. Oh gosh. Oh, Sophie, it would destroy everything. That's what would happen. Everything would be destroyed. It would destroy NXT. It would destroy Raw, SmackDown. Like it would all go out of business eventually because somebody would have to explain to him that you can't have Hangman Page death matches when you have a ton of corporate sponsors. Yeah. So no, they'd get kicked off their TV. Oh, there's Blake with the belt. She just stole it. Honestly, they could do a Razor Shawn thing here and do a ladder match for these two ladies. Oh no, Tatum's. Oh no. This is like in real time. Oh, she snatched her by the hair. Okay, I low key loved that. She didn't even bother to take the title back. She just threatened her. I like that. I like that a lot. It's like, bring my title. That was great. I hope this feud lasts for a minute because Tatum and Blake got some chemistry together. Should be a lot of fun. Okay, Sexy Red. If that is indeed her real name. Josh Briggs with the ref render. Oh my gosh. He looks like he just wants a Miller Lite. Yeah, I don't need any Sexy Red in my life if I'm being honest. But you know what? She's a wrestling fan. I'll give her credit. OTM and Mike Santana versus Dark State next week as well. Hello Levice and Kendall Gray. That should be a lot of fun, this match as well. What do you mean staff meetings, Sophie? If he owns WWE, they wouldn't have staff meetings probably. All right, here comes Ricky Saints. Main event, Ricky Saints and Tony D'Angelo. You got to assume we'll see Ethan Page somewhere along the line, maybe Joe Hendry as well. Because we're going to have to figure out who Joe's defending against at Stand and Deliver. Oh, there's Ethan Page. All right, in his corner. Ethan Page in the background posing along with Ricky Saints. And the camera's on Ethan Page, not on Ricky Saints. Tells you what you need to know about who the star is in this duo. All right. Tony should be forthcoming here. And then we'll wrap up this show tonight. Been a solid show. All right. Here comes. Nobody paid attention to who I was until I put on the mask. They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. Tone D'Angelo. I like this theme. As far as generic rock themes go, this is a very good one. Very evanescence-y. Tony got that look in his eyes. Do you feel in control, Ricky Saints? Yeah, I enjoy this Tony D'Angelo. I enjoy this Tony D'Angelo far more than the Mafia boss, Tony. All right, yeah, I got Tony RT Rook. Who do you guys got? Any takers for Ricky Saints in this match? Okay, so they're confirming that Cutler James has an eye injury as a result of facing Tony D'Angelo. We could get a fatal four-way, George. I think that's possible. Ricky's going to win RT. Okay. Ricky straight hollering. Seth and Sammy look like to win. Okay. I'm going to need this match to pick it up a little bit. I got to say, my internal pacing, I'm feeling kind of restless in the last few minutes of, oh, big pickup and tackle from Tony. Feeling a little restless here in the last stretch of NXT tonight. Next week, Ego versus Tony. Yeah, I think we probably see Ego and Tony next week too. Oh. I could see Ego trying to help tonight and accidentally costing Ricky, and then it going the other way next week as well. Ethan Page just running commentary there on the side. That's what you get. Uh-oh. Nope. Oh, geez. Tony goes shoulder first into the steps. It's always a loud sound there. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think Ego is going to have some involvement here. They've had this sort of chaotic partnership recently where whether on purpose or by accident seem to fail to actually help each other win. Currently in break, before we end up, by the way, earlier today, if you weren't around for our live, me and my brother David, we did another episode of Mount Rushmore matches where we covered the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, the Legion of Doom. Really good talk. Thanks to you guys who joined in as well and asked some questions in the moment. Next week, I'm excited. We're actually putting our list together now for the Surfer era of Sting. So we're going to be covering Sting in an episode next week. And we're debating whether or not we want to stretch that out to 2 episodes like we did Ricky Steamboat. But anyways, really excited to uncover some of that early Sting work in his early WCW years. Pre-Crow era. You know, the old school move, the longer it persists in time, the less patient I am with it. I don't know why people like. I wish they could come up with a way to sell during that move that would make it make a little more sense. Why that kind of stuff happens. Remember when Road Warrior Animal teamed up with Heidenreich? Oh, those were dark times, George. Dark times indeed. Pretty much almost every occasion where one of the Road Warriors teamed with someone who wasn't the other Road Warrior is a time I'd like to forget. There was one time Hawk teamed up with Sting, which was pretty cool. And Hawk also teamed up with shoot, now what's his name? Power Warrior doing the Hellraiser bit in New Japan. Those were pretty good. It's not his fault, but pretty much when Animal was the one teaming with somebody, it just didn't work out so well. We just missed Hawk, I guess. All right, we'll be coming back from the break here and in the final stretch, most likely. Did the Road Warriors compete in New Japan Tag League? If you're talking about a specific tournament last name, I don't know that they did. There just wasn't a lot of information on the Road Warriors competing in New Japan. They certainly didn't hold any titles as Hawk and Animal there. But yeah. So they did compete in New Japan a little bit during from 92 to 95. See if I can get a little more of their timeline. Yeah, so New Japan was without Animal, basically. There he is, Ethan Page getting involved. Yeah, so basically, basically Hawk left the WWF in '92 after SummerSlam '92 and went to New Japan, teamed with Power Warrior Kensuke Sasaki, and they were there for a few years. Animal joined up with them briefly in '96, but like by '96, Hawk and Animal left Japan and came back to WCW briefly before going back to WWF as LOD 2000, who had Sonny as their manager at that time. Crazy road for the Road Warriors. All right, Saints trying to get things done. So, Ethan trying to put away Tony D'Angelo. Not sure he'll be successful, but we've got just a few minutes left in the broadcast tonight, and we'll see what the rest of NXT holds for tonight. I don't know how you guys have felt. I think it's been an interesting show tonight. It was good to see Johnny Gargano back. Kendall Gray looking stronger every week. We're shaping up this Stand and Deliver card. I was a little surprised by how clearly the crowd was behind Zaria instead of Sol Ruca. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, George, unless something changes on the channel anytime soon, I probably won't be getting 2K26 this year. Just too much to invest into it, and that's not something I've got in the old funds right now. All right, Tony charging back, trying to finish off Ricky. Can he do it? Let's see. Big spear. That's a good looking spear from Tony. And now here comes Ethan Page, but he eats a shot from Tony as well. Chokeslam coming up. Oh, and there's a chop block and a DQ. Oh, that's cool, George. PS5's the way to go. Definitely enjoy it. Will Joe Hendry appear to help Tony or no? Ethan and Ricky just trading shots on Tony D'Angelo. Kind of a flat finish to the main event, but clearly they're stretching this out to Stand and Deliver, you know. Here comes Joe Hendry. Now Joe Hendry taking shots at Ricky and Ethan. Bringing them both down. Hendry's jeans are so skinny, it's a little uncomfortable. Clotheslines Ricky Saints out of the ring, and Ricky and Ethan go running. Now Ricky and Tony face to face. And now Hendry hits the standing ovation on Tony D'Angelo. A little payback. Is it true you have to unlock the characters of the version you bought? Dossie, to a certain degree, yes, you do. It's something to the effect of how they do Fortnite with battle passes. I don't play Fortnite, so I don't really know what that means. But that's kind of the idea. So that was a deterrent for me as well. Like I already couldn't afford the game, but already knowing I was going to have to grind my way into getting all the characters I would want to stream with for you guys. I'm like, that's too much work and too much money. So unless I wake up one day with some massive super chat saying, hey, use this money to buy the game, it's not going to happen. And I'm not opposed to that, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, looks like we're building towards a 4-way for Stand and Deliver for the NXT Championship, which I'm not mad at. They're making it intriguing, and of course, we get Lola and Kendall next week to see who takes on JC at Stand and Deliver as well. I imagine they'll continue the tag title tournament as well. And we get a 6-man tag, Dark State versus OTM, and a visiting Mike Santana from TNA champion. Zaria Roadblock next week. And Josh Briggs steps up to the plate to be a ref against Keanu Carver and Jasper Troy. I'm sure that won't possibly break down and de-evolve into a massive fight. We'll see what happens. Robert Stone closing out the show. What's he about to announce? Probably the Fatal 4-Way, right? You'd think so. Yep, there it is. Fatal 4-Way. Contract signing in New York. There you go. All right. So that does it, everybody. That's NXT for you. Thanks for joining. So listen, our road to Stand and Deliver is pretty much paved. Roadblock is TV last name. It's just going to be an episode of Weekly TV. I think they'll just theme it next week because they'll be in Madison Square Garden, the theater there in Madison Square Garden. So why is it a fatal 4-way? Because of alliteration. You know, if you get eliminated, they take you out back and kill you. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what I was. Just obviously the alliteration of trying to make things sound more dangerous than they are. What's interesting is that I think WWE's trademarked the phrase fatal 4-way because back in the day when we had multiple wrestling companies who actually like produced high rated content, I noticed they all had different names for the exact same match. Back when we had WCW, WWE, and ECW, if you had 3 men or women fighting each other in the ring, ECW called it a 3-way dance, WWE called it a triple threat match, and WCW called it a triangle match. All the same thing. To be fair, the 3-way dance, I think, was elimination style, but still, you knew kind of what you were getting in those. And then I don't know exactly what ECW would have called a fatal 4-way, but I'm pretty sure WCW called those a 4 corners match as well. So, like, you know, it's just funny how important branding is to companies and making sure we know this is our thing. We call it this. But such is the life of wrestling. Anyways, there was a free history lesson for you guys that you didn't ask for. But nevertheless, next week, we're going to be live from, well, we're not going to be live from New York. NXT is going to be live from New York. I'm going to be here, but we'll be watching it together and we'll be having a good time. So you guys take care of yourselves. Thanks for joining me tonight. Go check out our Mount Rushmore episode on the Road Warriors recorded earlier today. And I will see you guys. RT Rick, I could hear Vince McMahon's voice and reading your comment. It's not a belt. It's a championship. And you don't get a title shot. You get an opportunity. Yeah. Vince McMahon trying to sound more refined than he actually is when his business is professional wrestling will always make me laugh. Not necessary, Vince. Was never necessary. You can call it a belt. It's okay. Nevertheless, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Go check out the Mount Rushmore series. We're very proud of it. And also, we give you visual aids to go watch the matches later on yourself. So go check that out. Watch some good quality wrestling. And for more good quality wrestling, join me next week on Marked by Wrestling as we watch NXT. And until then, don't forget to be a mark. Being a mark means you believe. Believing makes wrestling better. You guys have a great night, and I will see you next time.